Nanda Devi is the second highest mountain in India, standing at 7,816 meters, 25, 6 and 43 feet. It is part of the Garhwal Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. This mountain is not just a huge rock covered in snow, it has a deep cultural and spiritual meaning, and it's surrounded by one of the most protected natural areas in the country. For a long time, people thought Nanda Devi was the tallest mountain in the world. Its steep slopes and tough terrain have made it one of the most challenging peaks to climb. In fact, to protect its environment, the Indian government closed off access to climbers in 1983. But that hasn't stopped it from being a place of fascination. In this journey, we'll explore Nanda Devi's location, history, importance, and mysteries. Everything that makes it one of India's most legendary mountains. Nanda Devi is located in the Kamoli district of Uttarakhand, India, deep in the Garhwal Himalayas. It sits near the border with Tibet and is surrounded by a ring of high peaks, which makes it one of the most isolated mountains in the world. Unlike other famous Himalayan peaks that are part of long mountain chains, Nanda Devi stands within its own natural fortress of towering ridges. The mountain is the centerpiece of the Nanda Devi Sanctuary, a remote valley surrounded by glaciers and steep rock faces. This area is so difficult to reach that it remained largely unexplored until the early 20th century. The sanctuary itself is part of the Nanda Devi National Park, which later became a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its unique environment and rare wildlife. The closest town to Nanda Devi is Joshimath, a small settlement in the mountains that serves as the gateway for pilgrims, trekkers, and researchers. The Rishi Ganga River, which flows through deep gorges, provides one of the few access routes to the mountain. Because of its remote location and protected status, Nanda Devi remains one of the most untouched and mysterious mountains in India. Nanda Devi stands 7,816 meters, 25,033 feet tall, making it the highest mountain entirely within India. While Kangchenjunga is taller, it sits on the India-Nepal border, meaning Nanda Devi holds a unique record. The mountain is shaped like a pyramid with steep, snow-covered slopes that make climbing extremely difficult. Nanda Devi actually has two peaks. One, Nanda Devi Main, the highest point. Two, Nanda Devi East, Sunanda Devi, a slightly smaller peak, 7,434 meters, 24,390 feet high, located just a few kilometers away. These twin peaks are part of a natural ring of mountains, creating the Nanda Devi Sanctuary, a high-altitude valley filled with glaciers and rare wildlife. This natural wall makes the area one of the most isolated places in the Himalayas. The mountain is also one of the windiest and coldest places in India. In winter, temperatures can drop below some 40 degrees, and storms are frequent. The steep slopes are covered in ice and loose rock, making avalanches a constant danger. Because of these extreme conditions, only a handful of climbers have ever reached the summit, and many attempts have ended in failure. For centuries, Nanda Devi remained unclimbed and untouched, hidden behind towering ridges and deep valleys. Before the early 1800s, many believed it was the tallest mountain in the world because no one had yet measured the peaks of Nepal and Tibet. The first serious attempts to explore Nanda Devi's surroundings came in the 19th century, when British surveyors and explorers tried to map the region. However, the mountain remained unreachable because of its natural barriers. It wasn't until 1934 that a route into the Nanda Devi Sanctuary was discovered by British climbers Eric Shipton and H.W. Tillman. This breakthrough made it possible for the first successful climb in 1936, when Bill Tillman and Noel Odell reached the summit. For nearly 15 years, Nanda Devi was the highest climbed mountain in the world until the ascent of Annapurna, 1950, and later Mount Everest, 1953. In the 1960s, Nanda Devi became part of a secret Cold War operation. The CIA and Indian intelligence attempted to install a nuclear-powered spy device on the mountain to monitor China. However, the mission failed and the device was lost in the snow, creating fears of radiation contamination in the region. In 1983, due to growing environmental concerns, the Indian government closed Nanda Devi to climbers to protect its fragile ecosystem. Since then, only a few scientific expeditions have been allowed inside the sanctuary. Nanda Devi is not just a mountain, it is a sacred place for millions of people, especially in Uttarakhand. The name Nanda Devi means bliss-giving goddess, and the mountain is believed to be the home of goddess Nanda Devi, a powerful deity worshipped in Hindu traditions. She is considered a protector of the region, bringing prosperity and blessings to the people who live in the surrounding villages. Every 12 years, a grand pilgrimage known as the Nanda Devi Raj Jat Yatra takes place. This sacred journey, stretching over 280 kilometers, 175 miles, is one of the longest religious pilgrimages in the Himalayas. Devotees walk for weeks through treacherous mountain paths, honoring the goddess and seeking her blessings. Many local myths surround Nanda Devi. According to one legend, the goddess took refuge in the mountain to escape a demon. The natural fortress surrounding the peak is said to be a divine shield protecting her from evil forces. The mountain is also deeply connected to local traditions and rituals. Even though climbing is now restricted, it was always believed that only the most spiritually pure individuals should attempt to reach its summit. Some locals even say that disturbing the mountain angers the goddess, leading to storms, avalanches, and misfortune. For the people of Uttarakhand, Nanda Devi is not just a peak, it is a living goddess, watching over them from the heights of the Himalayas. Nanda Devi is not only a sacred mountain but also a protected natural treasure. The area surrounding it, known as the Nanda Devi National Park, is one of the most untouched ecosystems in the Himalayas. Because of its unique geography and isolation, the region has developed a rare and fragile ecosystem that exists nowhere else in the world. In 1982, the Indian government declared the area a biosphere reserve, and a year later, all human activity, including climbing, was banned to protect the environment. In 2004, UNESCO recognized it as a World Heritage Site, highlighting its global importance. The park is home to many endangered species, including the snow leopard, Himalayan musk deer, and bharal, blue sheep. It also has a variety of rare plants, some of which are used in traditional medicine. Because the region has been mostly undisturbed for decades, it offers scientists a unique opportunity to study high-altitude ecosystems. The Rishi Ganga River, which flows through the park, is another important feature of the region. It helps sustain life in the valley and plays a key role in the local water supply. Despite being a protected area, climate change is starting to affect the region. Rising temperatures are causing glaciers to melt, which could disrupt the delicate balance of this ecosystem. Scientists are closely monitoring these changes to understand how they might impact both the wildlife and local communities. Nanda Devi has always been one of the most difficult mountains to climb, not just because of its height, but also because of its steep slopes and isolation. Unlike other Himalayan peaks which have multiple approach routes, Nanda Devi is surrounded by a natural fortress of high ridges, making access extremely challenging. The first recorded attempt to enter the Nanda Devi sanctuary was in the 19th century, but explorers failed to find a way through. In 1934, British climbers Eric Shipton and H.W. Tillman finally discovered a passage through the Rishi Ganga Gorge, opening the path for future expeditions. 2 years later, in 1936, Bill Tillman and Noel Odell became the first people to successfully reach the summit, a remarkable achievement at the time. After the first ascent, Nanda Devi became a major goal for climbers worldwide. However, due to increasing environmental concerns, the Indian government closed the mountain to climbers in 1983. Since then, only scientific and limited military expeditions have been allowed, but the main peak remains off-limits to tourists and mountaineers. The eastern peak, Nanda Devi East, Sunanda Devi, remains open to climbers with special permits. Even so, it is a technically demanding climb and only highly experienced mountaineers attempt it. With its dangerous terrain and restricted access, Nanda Devi has become a mystical and forbidden peak, attracting both scientific interest and mountaineering legends. Nanda Devi is more than just a mountain, It is a symbol of nature's power, spirituality, and mystery. As India's second highest peak, it stands as a guardian of the Himalayas, protected by steep ridges and deep valleys. Its cultural and religious importance makes it a sacred site for many, while its environmental significance has led to its status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Over the years, explorers, climbers, and scientists have been drawn to Nanda Devi, fascinated by its isolation and untamed beauty. However, the ban on climbing since 1983 has preserved its fragile ecosystem, keeping the mountain untouched by mass tourism. Today, Nanda Devi remains a symbol of the unknown, a peak that stands apart from the rest, not just in height, but in its history, myths, and natural wonders. Its story continues, hidden behind the clouds, waiting for those who seek to understand its greatness. Enjoyed this adventure? Smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a journey. What mountain should we cover next? Drop your suggestions.